let's talk about it. Let's get vulnerable. One of our favorite sayings. So, one of the hardest things for me was just being able to be fully transparent and vulnerable while I was in a relationship, while I was, married, 2 times. Is I always view vulnerability as being weak. I just, that was so many things that I was holding in. That was so many things that I was hurting from. And all I did was just suffer in silence. All I was doing was just self-sabotaging, because all I wanted to do was, one, make sure that I was, pleasing, my spouse or, the other person I was in a relationship. But two, at the same time, I didn't want to express my vulnerability because I didn't want that individual to feel like I was acting or being less than a man. But one thing I had to learn, like, if you can't show up anywhere and be vulnerable, the one place you should be able to show up and be vulnerable is within your relationship. You know what I mean? So men, women, you know what I'm saying? If you really, really, really try to get emotional, increase your emotional intelligence, you know what I'm saying? And just be, one with, your significant other, you gotta be vulnerable. You know what I mean? You have to let people know, about your hurts, about your pains, your scars, your trauma, you know what I mean? But also you gotta make sure it's within a safe place, I can't get the word out, safe space, to make sure that person don't use that vulnerability against you. Because I have been in situations where someone knew how I feel like they knew how I felt about a certain situation and circumstance, and they used that to their advantage and used my vulnerability against me. I didn't realize that what was going on until after that person had done that. But hey, Miss J, what you think about it? Let's get vulnerable.
So, I think women don't mind being vulnerable with the person that they're with. We tend to sometimes don't mind expressing how we feel about a situation. Unless you just, especially somebody that we care about and love and trying to grow and have a life with, we don't mind being vulnerable with them or showing them vulnerability sides. Now, you have a case scenario sometimes where you have women that don't want to show those sides, because sometimes women feel like that's a sign of weakness, or a man feel like, oh, she too emotional, it make her feel like she can't be herself, because if he knew what she had going on or had some things she was dealing with, he may not be able to handle them. So sometimes women kind of shut down with those things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thing, I was raised by a single mom, so I knew about being emotional, but I didn't know how to handle my emotions.
Yeah.
And within being emotional, I thought that was really a way that I was expressing my vulnerability. But really, what I was doing was just having grown man temper tantrums, and trying to understand why my spouse or my significant other wasn't picking up on where I was coming from or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I came to realize that she wasn't understanding what I was saying because I wasn't articulating myself correctly.
Yeah.
I was too busy trying to articulate myself through hurt and through pain and trying to justify why I felt that way and how you made me feel this, instead of being able to just articulate myself to a point to where I can just truly tell my vulnerabilities of how I hurt, this is why I hurt, and just things of that nature. So, one thing I did is I did a lot of studying on emotions and emotional intelligence and how to heighten my emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go into my next situation and not be able to express my vulnerability. I want to tell you, hey, babe, I had a bad day at work. I feel like crying. And you be like, hey, lay your head on my shoulder and cry. And then when I get done crying, you wipe my tears, I get up, walk off, and you don't hold it against me.
Plain and simple. That easy.
So, hey, let's chat, R&J. Let's get vulnerable. Life after life, healing process.